we're going to begin to go deep and lean in to spiritual, metaphysical. These are aspects that always been part of Pure Sound L and the Pure Sound method. It's really my own knowledge I've developed over a lifetime. And the reason I'm going to do this is a recent jewel I got from John Truby, a master dissector of story. He has the book Anatomy of Story and Anatomy of Genre. And it was the anatomy of genre that I found particularly interesting. And that what I found is people don't understand even what they like. Meaning people don't understand who they really are and how to find their happiness. What we call this is genre mixing is what makes greatness. And that's what I pulled from his demonstrations. And telling you how story, narrative, and mixing genre with business, with spirituality, and psychological type is going to make me the best in the world at what I do. And finding your genres, your different skills, and mixing them together is going to make you the best in the world at what you do. Peace. It's Travis Soderwell. It's Pure Sound Daily Business, where we unlock genius, discover purpose, and build prosperity by connecting psychological type, spiritual architecture, business principles, and story structure. That's why I'm laughing. I gotta break the cadence a little bit, but I like this on a Friday. Keeping it easy, connecting, going in deep. Try to focus on, for my spiritual school of thought, Friday is a holy day. So I try to really focus on a bigger vision. My meaning behind spirituality at a very low level, just very not getting deep, not getting religious, not getting too spiritual with a spiritual definition. It's just making connections. Making connections to things that don't seem to be connected. That give us those aha moments. Opens our eyes to new possibility. And that while I was running my mouth in the intro, I kind of lost where I was going. And I was like, I'm talking too long. So I wanted to break the piece on that. But it really has been huge nugget I've gotten recently from looking into story structure, and that one of the ways I describe the Pure Sound method is helping you become the author of your life. Helping you to write your vision into your future. Being the author of your own life, your future, the possibility, unlocking that. And to understand, this is a spiritual concept, been around for a long time. I think the deeper we get into scientifically and, I was going to say particle physics. That's not it. But it's, the newer branch of physics and understanding how the mind really influences what we see. And going to the double slit experiment. If you haven't heard of this or seen the demonstration, look that up while you're listening to this. Very 2-minute YouTube video. Double slot experiment. It says a couple minutes. It may be the car. I like the cartoon looking one personally. I think it's like 8 minutes total, but the actual demonstration to get the understanding I'm talking about. I think it's like the first couple minutes in it. And that is, they did an experiment. They shot particles through these slits and they hit a wall. Now, when they were just shooting it, and then they would look at what happened after it. So they weren't observing it while they were doing it. So while they were doing it, it just made, an all over the place pattern. This is me dumbing it way down. Not for you, because of the speaker. Because of the speaker, not the listener. Okay, we dumbing it down. So they shot it through, the slit was just so one particle could pass through. It just hit a wall, made an all over the place pattern. They added, and I'm missing a step in here, but I'm just going to jump ahead. They added observing what the particles were doing. And instead of an all over the place pattern, it made a wave pattern. So the wave pattern represents, it gave form to the particles. It gave possibility to the particles. So hopefully I'm in the ballpark. I need to brush back up on that demonstration. So hopefully I'm not too off. I mean, hey, if I'm off, drop some comments. Let's get some engagement going. Maybe it's the best way to get engagement, just to be wrong. Y'all can be like, hey, I watched that video so well and you was off, sir. Step your game up. Refresh. Get back to researching. See? So that's why I was talking about the minimums the other day. So I'm creating courses. What I'm doing right now is outlining everything. So I know my talking points, and that being one that I'm about to make a note on, that it's, I need to be sharp on this talking point. So I'm literally writing it down right now. Double slit experiment. And I'm doing all this because I know I'm about to lay a good heavy one on you. So you getting the full me just running my mouth demonstration today. So understanding that existence itself, particles, don't have form until there is an observer. And we can connect the eye to the brain. Right? So your eye, your brain, I'm making that jump. That your brain gives form to reality. And that there is a predetermined form. However, as our thoughts change, or as we think our thoughts, we affect our environment. So this is a demonstration I call, now I'm a Moorish American Muslim, so I'm going to use the term Allah. It's talking about God. I use them interchangeably. Ain't nothing special about it. For me, it's just to make the distinction. Because I didn't grow up in the church. When I got into organized religion in my teens, because my brother from another mother invited me out to have some pizza. That was a Bible study. And I've always been interested in all things. So read the Bible a few times. Haven't done deep study, but I've studied it. So I have no beef, quote unquote, with the Bible, and that I rock with the people of the book, as we call ourselves. And to continue to be more specific, definitely the Quran of Mecca, as I call it, and the Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, which is a prepared version of what is known as a Aquarian Gospel. That's kind of a published book that European wrote. That I don't, just to put this out there, that I don't really give credit to for authorship, so to speak. He says he pulled it from the Akashic records, but in that time, There were a lot of charlatans in that time frame, right? And that was the time to drop a little history. That was the time that a lot of information, especially spirituality, spiritual concepts, were coming out of Hindustan, was coming out of India because of the British rule. So this is where, again, connecting these things, knowing history. Blavatsky, learned from Tibetan people. But all that area, the subcontinent of Asia, all that area, as there was British rule in Hindustan, that's where a lot of Europeans, and we get a lot of people with that information. That was such a blow up in those days and times, the early 1900s, late 1800s. I call this demonstration from Allah's breath to manifest. So we're talking about as breath, there are really two versions. The two main versions is that the breath, Allah breathes, God breathes, or the word of God. These are kind of interchangeable. And then when we're talking about manifest, I'm just talking about the physical world. So why this is important, I'll set the stage now, is because, again, if we're talking about our thoughts, this is how thoughts come into existence. So you being a thought of God, God breathes. The Elohim come into existence. He makes the Elohim. The Elohim create everything else. So this is where in Genesis they talk about, if you look at the Hebrew version, they say Els, the Elohim, as opposed to God, because it isn't the God, it's Elohim. These are a little different. That's what creates existence. And this is our connection to our higher selves. So we have God, breathing, Elohim. Then there's, that's all spirit. Then there's a soul plane. Now we recognize the soul plane being the mental plane. Here's the connection with the mind and our thoughts. 3 planes of existence: spirit, soul, and matter, physical or manifest. So we're here right now speaking. We're in the physical plane. We're in the plane of manifest. As we speak, as we think, those go up into the soul plane, into the mental plane, into the soul plane. And if we get them to vibrate high enough, or here's a better word to put, if our thoughts are pure enough, they go up to the spiritual plane, and it just reflects right back down here into the physical plane. So this is what is meant by spiritual architecture. Understanding the framework of our reality. Another way to put it, when we talk about, this is where I bring in psychological type, is the conscious mind. We can say what is physical and what we're aware we're thinking. And then the unconscious mind, what we're not aware we're thinking. And this is where belief lies. Another key word when we're talking about spiritual architecture, right? So let's just run that again. Physical world, we have these thoughts. Those thoughts and experiences are going into our unconscious mind. Our unconscious mind holds everything we've ever done, everything we've ever thought. Some of it we can access through hard work. Some of it we'll never be able to access. What we can access is just like dipping our toe into the ocean. So that's the little bit of information we can get, and yet it is very profound. So we work hard to use our conscious mind, what we know we're thinking and what we know we're doing, and push that into the unconscious. And the unconscious works as I said. We know how it works because we observe. It comes right back to us. This is why I say the purity of your thought, how clean your mind is. So if you have a dirty mind, you're going to be putting dirty thoughts into the unconscious, and that's going to be coming back to you. And if you have a dirty mind, you need some brainwashing. And one of the brainwashing tactics is to know the truth. And that's one of the things we focus on here at Pure Sound L with the Pure Sound method, is understanding and getting the knowledge of how reality actually works. So are your thoughts pure, or you got some dirty thoughts? And do you need some brainwashing? Travis Odewell, it's Pure Sound Daily Business. Peace.